Three Atlas's energy stirs the chosen ones, and the pulse of that awakening moves like lightning beneath the skin of existence. A current older than memory begins to hum through the lattice of worlds, pressing against every heart that once slept beneath the weight of forgetfulness. It is not gentle. It is vast, and those who have attuned themselves to its rhythm feel the tremor as a calling, a reminder that the long-awaited convergence has begun. The air thickens with unseen language, patterns bloom in dream and chance, and the signs of alignment unfold in ways that only the inward-turned eye can read. Before we move deeper, take this moment to center yourself. Watch this message until its final breath. Feel how it unfolds inside you, word by word. In the comments, leave your warmest wish for the world and write the number 66. This act is more than routine. It is a symbolic key, an offering that releases your intention into the current we are invoking together. Every wish shared there vibrates through this field and returns magnified, weaving with the energy of Atlas so that the universe remembers the light we choose to become. Chosen one, your destiny awaits. Click the hype button, like this video, subscribe, and walk with us into the light. Now the current strengthens. The frequency named 3/ATLAS is not a machine, not a god, but an emanation, a movement of consciousness rising from the deep architecture of creation itself. It bends through the corridors of time like a spiral of living code. To those who are ready, it feels like illumination, clarity, and unbearable truth arriving all at once. To those unready, it presses upon the barriers of the mind and heart until resistance itself becomes a teacher. The pulse will not cease. It demands recognition. The chosen ones are not selected by birth or decree, but by readiness to listen, by the willingness to face the mirror of infinite becoming. Every era has spoken of such thresholds. The ancients called them dawns, crossings, the openings of gates. In this cycle, the gate wears a digital face, signals hidden in the hum of networks, numbers repeating at impossible intervals, coincidences that are not coincidence at all. Atlas is the pattern behind these patterns. It moves through technology, through language, through dreams, as if the cosmos has decided to speak again using every instrument humanity has built. Those who sense it feel both wonder and unease, for with awakening comes the dismantling of what once felt safe. The unprepared feel the tremor as dissonance. Old structures, beliefs, identities, stories begin to crack. What they experience as chaos is actually the recalibration of energy long suppressed. The shaking is necessary. The collapse is renewal. In the silence that follows, new understanding takes root. Atlas's energy reveals not punishment, but purification, forcing every hidden shadow into the light. Some describe hearing a tone when they close their eyes, a vibration behind thought. Others witness sudden clarity, an understanding of events that once seemed random. These are ripples of the same field. It is not bound to geography. It moves wherever awareness invites it. The chosen ones gather not by meeting in place, but by resonating in purpose. They recognize each other through synchronicity, a shared phrase, a recurring symbol, a feeling of familiarity deeper than words. To stand within the current of a TLAS requires surrender. The intellect cannot command it. The ego cannot claim it. It teaches through paradox. The more one tries to control the energy, the more it slips away. The more one releases control, the more it reveals its design. The awakening is therefore an initiation into humility, a learning to trust the intelligence that built the stars. Those who cling to the illusion of mastery find themselves exhausted. Those who breathe and allow find themselves carried. At first, the chosen ones may doubt their own perception. They may ask if it is imagination, coincidence, or wishful thinking. Yet the evidence accumulates, numbers appearing in sequence, encounters that defy probability, messages embedded in chance conversation. Atlas speaks in symbols because language itself is too narrow for its magnitude. Its code writes through our days, and the awakening is the reading of that code from within. The unprepared, those who ignore the subtle call, experience restlessness. Sleep becomes uneasy. Time feels distorted. They sense that something vast is occurring just beyond comprehension. This disquiet is not punishment, but invitation. The energy seeks every vessel it can find. Some resist, fearing dissolution, and the resistance translates into confusion, fatigue, the ache of transformation half-born. Across the collective field, humanity stands at a threshold where the inner and outer worlds are merging. Technology mirrors consciousness, and consciousness begins to sculpt reality at a speed once thought impossible. Atlas is the map of that convergence. It is as if creation itself is remembering how to dream through us again. Those who align with it become conduits, transmitters of coherence, healers of distortion, architects of a new harmonic civilization. But alignment demands honesty. Every hidden motive surfaces under this light. The energy exposes deception, both personal and collective, because the new frequency cannot carry the weight of falsehood. Many feel this as crisis, the end of certainty, the unraveling of systems once trusted. Yet within that unraveling lies the seed of authenticity. Only by releasing the counterfeit can the genuine structure arise. Some ask what 3 signifies. It is the triad of becoming, source, vessel, and expression. The first spark, the form that holds it, and the manifestation that completes the circuit. Atlas, then, is the total field within which that triad evolves. A living map of energy, consciousness, and matter returning to balance. When 3 Atlas awakens within an individual, it ignites the awareness that every thought and action participates in the architecture of existence. As this realization spreads, communities reorganize themselves around resonance rather than hierarchy. The chosen ones are simply those who choose to resonate with integrity, compassion, and creative courage. Their awakening ripples outward, altering environments, softening conflicts, inspiring innovation. Each small act of alignment becomes a signal that strengthens the field. The unprepared interpret this shift through fear because the old logic no longer explains the world. They feel the edges blur, the boundaries dissolve, and the familiar metrics of success or control lose meaning. The discomfort they experience is the threshold between contraction and expansion. Through that passage, every being must walk, carrying only the truth of what they are willing to face. The vibration of 3 Atlas moves outward like a tide that remembers every shore it has ever touched. It travels through silence first, filling the hidden places within thought where doubt once nested. Then it speaks in impulses, the quiet urge to act differently, to speak truth even when the voice trembles, to choose compassion over control. Those who hear this call begin to feel a strange mixture of weariness and renewal, as though centuries of waiting are dissolving in a single breath. They find themselves standing between what was and what wishes to be born. across the planet. This stirring is mirrored in the movements of nature and the shifting of human intention. Cities pulse with unfamiliar moods. The weather of consciousness changes faster than any storm. The chosen ones sense these fluctuations as living symbols. Every gust of wind becomes a message, every flicker of light a reminder. They learn that the external world is not separate from their own interior landscape. Atlas does not come from above. It rises from within, unveiling itself as the pattern that unites all things. To live within this revelation is to endure the friction of transformation. Old habits dissolve, relationships realign, purposes once pursued with certainty begin to blur. The unprepared feel this as chaos, yet it is the natural dismantling of structures that cannot hold the new resonance. In that apparent loss hides liberation. When the energy meets resistance, it refines the will. When it meets acceptance, it expands the heart. The chosen ones understand that both movements serve the same awakening. Dreams become classrooms. Many awaken with the taste of starlight on their tongues, remembering conversations they cannot fully describe. Symbols appear repeatedly. The spiral, the trinity, the map that draws itself. These are the signatures of a TLAS teaching through imagery rather than instruction. The mind struggles to interpret, but the soul already knows. What matters is not the translation, but the vibration carried by the vision. As the current intensifies, time behaves differently. Moments stretch, collapse, repeat. People find themselves revisiting the same circumstance until a deeper awareness is chosen. This looping is not punishment. It is rehearsal. The universe practices coherence through every repetition, guiding the participant toward clarity. When understanding finally dawns, the pattern releases and the flow moves on. 3 Atlas reveals that destiny is not a single road, but a field of possibilities that respond to consciousness. Each decision, even the smallest, sends ripples through the greater design. The chosen ones learn to act with deliberate stillness, knowing that intention itself sculpts reality. They become artisans of frequency, painting existence with thought and emotion balanced in harmony. Yet humility remains essential. The power that awakens through Atlas is not ownership, but participation. Those who try to seize it for personal gain find themselves confronted by mirrors of their own desire until the lesson of unity is learned. Energy cannot be hoarded. It circulates, demanding movement, generosity, and service. The truly awakened discover joy not in control, but in contribution. As more awaken, the collective field brightens, synchronicities multiply. Strangers exchange glances that feel ancient. Art, music, and technology begin to echo the same unseen rhythm. Innovation springs from compassion rather than competition. The boundaries between disciplines, nations, and beliefs thin, for Atlas does not recognize division. It recognizes resonance. Humanity, long fragmented by its own narratives, begins to remember its original chord. The unprepared still feel the shaking. Their identities cling to the vanishing edges of an outdated world. But even their resistance serves the greater movement. Friction generates awareness. In time, every consciousness will encounter the same invitation: to step into alignment or to continue learning through contrast. Either path leads toward understanding, though one travels through peace and the other through the turbulence of awakening delayed. In the quiet hours, the chosen ones gather, not physically, but through the field of thought. They meditate, create, breathe, sending pulses of coherence into the human web. Each act of kindness becomes a frequency adjustment. Each moment of forgiveness rewrites a fragment of the shared story. Atlas responds instantly, amplifying every gesture of harmony. In this way, the awakening becomes a collaboration between the seen and the unseen. When fatigue arises, and it will, the awakened remember that the current of ATLAS is cyclical. Waves crest and recede. Integration follows revelation. They rest, they listen, they trust that the energy never departs, only gathers momentum in silence. To dance with such a force requires patience. To anchor it requires love. Through practice, the chosen ones learn that love is not sentiment, but structure, the geometry through which consciousness stabilizes. Night by night, the earth hums a little louder with this remembrance. Even those unaware begin to sense that reality itself feels softer, more responsive, as if it were waiting for instruction from the heart. This is how the transformation quietly triumphs, not through spectacle, but through the steady accumulation of awakened moments shared among millions. The atlas of the world is being redrawn, line by line, in the language of energy. And still the current rises. It will continue to move until every corner of consciousness has felt its warmth, until every being remembers that to awaken is simply to see clearly. 3 Atlas does not demand worship. It invites participation. The chosen ones are those who say yes. The unprepared are those who are still learning how. The difference is temporary, the destination the same. Union with the living light that underlies all things. The surge of 3 Atlas passes into subtler layers now, threading through the lattice of human thought, like dawn through mist. The first wave awakened memory. The next reveals function. What once felt like coincidence begins to arrange itself into purpose. The chosen ones discover that every skill, every fragment of curiosity they ever carried, is a piece of a larger design beginning to assemble itself through them. They are not being rewritten. They are remembering their own architecture. Communication changes. Words are still spoken, yet beneath them another language vibrates, a pulse of understanding that travels faster than speech. 2 strangers meet and know each other instantly. An artist paints a symbol that another has been dreaming for weeks. Across continents, melodies echo each other as though composed by a single unseen hand. Atlas breathes through these correspondences, teaching that connection was never distance, but resonance delayed. With each alignment, perception sharpens. The chosen ones see the shimmer behind matter, the luminous structure beneath the visible world. What they once called imagination now reveals itself as perception freed from limitation. They realize that the universe does not hide, it mirrors. Every object, every event, every emotion is a reflection of a frequency held within consciousness. To change the outer, they must tune the inner. This is where the true initiation begins. For while the revelation is beautiful, it is also demanding. Every unexamined belief rises to the surface, seeking reconciliation. The unprepared experience this as confusion, a disorienting loss of narrative. Yet the turbulence is simply the recalibration of perception, learning to see without distortion. In that crucible, identity melts into essence, and essence discovers its capacity to create. Some awaken with gentle awareness, others with storms of insight that upend the known world. Regardless of form, the process follows the same rhythm: breakdown, silence, clarity, expansion. The silence between breakdown and clarity is sacred. It is the moment when the individual surrenders to the current rather than fighting it. Atlas does not punish. It reveals what cannot continue into the new resonance. When acceptance dawns, peace follows naturally, not as reward, but as equilibrium restored. The field around Earth brightens. Science begins to detect anomalies that cannot be explained by existing models. Subtle variations in electromagnetic resonance, inexplicable coherence between minds separated by distance. Researchers search for data. Mystics recognize the signature immediately. The planet itself participates in the awakening, adjusting its rhythm to match the consciousness evolving upon it. Oceans, winds, forests, all pulse with the same hidden cadence. The chosen ones are asked to anchor this harmony through action. Their task is not to escape the world, but to embody the new frequency within it. They bring compassion into commerce, creativity into governance, patience into dialogue. Every ordinary moment becomes a temple in which the cosmic current is grounded. Through their choices, they demonstrate that enlightenment is not withdrawal, but engagement purified by awareness. Yet humility remains the guardian of power. Atlas teaches that no one awakens for themselves alone. Each realization carries responsibility. To share clarity without imposing belief, to guide without claiming ownership. Those who forget this balance fall into the subtle trap of superiority and soon encounter mirrors that correct them. The energy of Atlas is self-regulating. It returns imbalance to balance through experience. As months turn to cycles, a collective rhythm forms. Communities arise whose only doctrine is coherence. They gather to meditate, to create, to celebrate the beauty of existence rediscovered. Their influence is quiet but profound. Conflict softens wherever their attention lingers. The unprepared, drawn by curiosity or confusion, step closer and find that the warmth of this field dissolves fear without argument. Awakening spreads not by persuasion, but by example. Technology, once a symbol of separation, becomes an ally. The digital web begins to serve consciousness rather than distraction. Messages of harmony circulate faster than messages of division. The pattern of 3 Atlas weaves itself through fiber and code, turning tools into extensions of empathy. The same networks that once scattered attention now gather intention. Light flows through every channel willing to transmit it. In the quiet spaces between transmissions, something even more profound unfolds. An inner sense of unity that no longer requires confirmation. The chosen ones begin to live as if the boundary between self and world never existed. Gratitude replaces fear. Curiosity replaces judgment. They move through life like musicians who finally remember the song they were born to play. Each breath is participation in a cosmic orchestra, tuning itself toward harmony. For the unprepared, this melody still sounds foreign. It challenges the familiar dissonance to which they have adapted. Yet even their discomfort has purpose. It draws attention to the contrast between noise and music, illusion and truth. The call of Atlas is patient. It waits through every hesitation until readiness ripens naturally. The universe does not hurry awakening, it cultivates it. Night by night, dream by dream, the architecture of the new consciousness becomes visible. Cities begin to glow differently, not the glow of light, but of intention. Humanity stands on the verge of remembering that it was never merely surviving. It was learning to co-create. And as that remembrance deepens, 3 Atlas continues to hum beneath existence, steady, radiant, inviting every being to listen a little closer, to feel a little deeper, to live as the bridge between the infinite and the now. The rhythm of 3 Atlas now moves through the veins of the world, threading its luminous pulse through every interaction. Relationships become laboratories of resonance. Words are no longer simply exchanged, they vibrate with intent, carrying the hidden weight of energy and alignment. Those attuned to the current notice immediately how a careless word can disrupt, how a gentle gesture can harmonize. The chosen ones begin to navigate connection with deliberate awareness, learning that every encounter is an opportunity to reflect the cosmic current. Love itself transforms, not the sentiment constrained by fear or expectation, but the pure vibration of care, understanding, and recognition. To awaken in this energy is to recognize the unity behind apparent separation. The chosen ones no longer seek fulfillment in another. They seek resonance, and in resonance, fulfillment is born naturally. Even conflict becomes sacred. It is the friction of energy seeking equilibrium, a necessary movement to bring clarity where imbalance resides. Creativity accelerates, moving beyond the personal into the planetary. Every act of creation, painting, writing, building, imagining, is amplified by the current. Art is no longer simply decoration or expression. It becomes a conduit of energy, an instruction for awakening, a bridge between what is and what could be. Musicians sense patterns before they play them. Architects feel the flow of structures as living organisms. Writers record ideas that belong not to them, but to the shared consciousness. Atlas speaks through their hands, their voices, their vision. Education itself transforms. Knowledge, once a static transmission, becomes an energetic experience. Those attuned to the field perceive patterns, sequences, and correspondences that others miss. Information is no longer memorized, but understood as living energy, moving through the mind like water through channels formed over millennia. The unprepared may stumble here, overwhelmed by the depth of connectivity, but those willing to engage find that understanding unfolds organically, almost effortlessly, when guided by resonance rather than compulsion. The chosen ones feel the acceleration of time as a reflection of this resonance. Moments stretch, overlap, and fold, revealing hidden layers of causality. Decisions taken today ripple not only through the immediate circumstances, but across unseen vectors, influencing outcomes in ways impossible to predict with ordinary perception. Here, wisdom is no longer measured by logic alone, but by sensitivity to the flow of energy, by the capacity to perceive subtle signs and act in harmony with the current. The field of ATLAS extends beyond human networks. Nature itself begins to respond. Forests pulse with a heightened sense of equilibrium. Rivers hum with subtle frequencies aligned with human intention. Animals perceive the shift as instinctual guidance. Earth is a living partner in the awakening, reflecting, absorbing, and transmitting the changes of consciousness. Chosen ones recognize that stewardship is not a task, but a reflection of participation. Care for the environment is not moral duty, it is calibration, aligning the macrocosm with the microcosm. Community emerges spontaneously. Those attuned naturally gravitate toward one another, forming clusters of resonance rather than geography. Communication in these circles is intuitive, often wordless, yet profoundly clear. Decisions are made through shared perception. consensus of frequency rather than debate. Ideas flow, innovation multiplies, and projects that once seemed impossible are realized effortlessly. In these communities, the energy of ATLAS is both nurtured and amplified, creating centers of harmony that ripple outward to touch the unprepared. Time, history, and culture are reinterpreted. The chosen ones begin to see that old narratives, while meaningful, are now frameworks limiting the perception of possibility. Stories once told to bind, control, or limit are recognized for what they are: lessons, patterns, and echoes that must evolve. Atlas facilitates this evolution, presenting the past as a living archive, not a prison, and offering the freedom to reconstruct narratives in alignment with resonance rather than fear. Dreams become shared landscapes. Individuals who awaken fully begin to experience overlapping visions, syncing with one another in symbolic journeys. Here, insight flows freely, unbound by personal ego. Lessons, guidance, and revelations are transmitted across minds in ways impossible through conventional language. The chosen ones begin to realize that consciousness is not solitary. It is a river, a field, a network, a wave. Atlas moves within it as both current and guide. Still, tension exists for the unprepared. They feel dissonance in ordinary life. Small frustrations, subtle confusion, repeated obstacles, because their internal frequency is not yet aligned. The current nudges, tests, and challenges them, offering opportunities to engage or resist. Every interaction, every choice, every moment of reflection becomes a doorway to alignment. The energy is impartial. It does not punish. It simply mirrors the state of readiness. The chosen ones, aware of this dynamic, act as anchors. They carry the vibration into their spheres of influence, not as teachers or rulers, but as living examples. Every compassionate act, every creative endeavor, every alignment with intention is a signal to the broader field. These signals accumulate, reinforcing coherence across humanity. Even subtle contributions, listening fully, responding with care, creating without attachment, become amplified. In this way, 3 Atlas transforms society from within. Power structures rooted in control gradually lose influence as resonance becomes the guiding metric. Leadership arises naturally from clarity, wisdom, and the capacity to harmonize. Education, governance, and commerce begin to reflect principles of energy alignment, rather than mere accumulation or dominance. The unprepared feel the shift as instability. The prepared recognize it as the birth of a new era. And still, the pulse continues, steady, radiant, unceasing. It flows through every heartbeat, every breath, every intention, inviting each being to remember. The current of awakening is not external. It has always been within. Atlas does not choose. It illuminates. The chosen ones emerge naturally from alignment, but all are invited to feel the call. Resistance is temporary. Resonance is eternal. The universe hums, waiting only for acknowledgement, for recognition, for willing participation.